fun.
Yes.
On the podcast here. So obviously, Halo Infinite gameplay reveal. I was a little excited about this.
Same.
My reaction was basically a continual volume warning for headphone users. When I was like, oh my god, this is it.
Yeah.
So what are your initial reactions to the gameplay demo reveal of Infinite?
All right, let's break it down real quick. All right. Starting out, Chief is sexy. Chief looks so damn good in this game. Like, you say what you want about these graphics, which we'll touch on, but Chief looks damn good in the game. In game, like, Chief looks good. I love
Chief I think ever, actually.
Yeah, he's my favorite.
I think
Chief.
this is the best Chief that's ever been made.
Yeah, like it's really not close for me. Like, it's then like Halo 2 and 3's Chief for me, but this Chief takes the cake. And then when Chief is coming out of the Pelican and he's like, we'll search together, and I was like, all right, dude, this world is beautiful. When it just hits you, just like Halo CE, when you come out of the drop pod or the escape pod, you look out and you just see this beautiful ring world. It just hits you, and I really thought, I was like, oh my god, this game is gorgeous. And then as you progress through, it started to hit at me like, some of these textures look a little wonky, and honestly, there's like pop-ins and stuff in the distance. You can see fog, like pop-ins and mountains disappearing and popping in. It's an early build, okay? We know that for a fact. And I guess we'll touch more on that. But overall, though, gameplay looks fun, like fun as hell. The grappling hook looks fun as hell. The interaction with the environment, the enemies look fun to fight. We still haven't seen no Prometheans, so who knows if they're even in the game, but Covenant is infinitely, no pun intended, more fun to fight than the Prometheans, in my opinion. We know that the enemies actually interact with the sandbox, like we've never seen, where they throw grunts at you, and there's other things that haven't been shown.
Amazing.
That was awesome. Yeah. There's Go ahead.
When I first saw that, I thought the grunt was just like hopped, and I'm like,
I'm like, how the hell does he got hops like that? Yeah,
get this guy in the NBA.
Yeah. Speaking of NBA, can we talk about how lanky those jackals looked, dude? Like the jackal looked like a tall boy. He was like skinny and tall. I was like, put that boy in the NBA too while you're at it. But I think they're like 6 feet tall or something. Yeah, they're pretty damn tall, but they never like. I guess without his shield, him just standing there like that, it looked crazy. And then, like the guns look good, man. The guns looked fun. Like I said, the grapple and, throwing fusion coils and stuff. And the music, man. The music hit me. I was like grinning from ear to ear the whole time. And I remember the timestamp in the gameplay trailer. 5:35 is where I get goosebumps, and I've watched this trailer at least 30 times already. I literally watch it every day, multiple times a day. It's 5:35 when you hear a faint little like da 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 da.
Let's check this out right now. I'm actually watching the video right now. I'm ready. Dude. Let's go right to 5:34 just so you can hear it.
Okay, just right. That's so good. Yeah. It is so good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really cool play off of the
main theme. It is so good, and and when he grapples up there and it's just you hear like the violin going in. I'm just like, yes, this is Halo, baby. Like, give me more of that soundtrack, man.
Yeah, that music right there was just like, let's get this done.
Yeah, exactly. It's the battle music. It's just like, all right, I am motivated to shoot some mother flipping aliens right now, dude. Like, it's so good. I love it.
Which makes me think like it makes me wonder if like a mission gets activated once it gets to that point and everything prior to it was like open world or something,
Yeah.
Because generally with open world you have to hit like a trigger to activate like the mission sequences and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And maybe like that's how like with the open world, like if you hit certain checkpoints and like certain kind of music start playing, and so then it kind of helps play a much more thematic part to the whole thing.
Yeah,
which
it could be like combat music. Whenever you're in combat, there could be some sort of music going on. Like you said, some certain triggers, like on the elevator scene, you hear the new what I'm presuming it could be the main menu theme, because at the start of the demo you heard the very same thing with the woman and the men monks like chanting and like the when you're going up the elevator there. So yeah, there could be certain triggers in the world. A lot of there's just so many cool things to go over, man. Like so much attention to detail, like detail and lack of detail is like is both, you know, like it's a double-edged sword. Like Duquesne pointed out that the Warthog, its wheel got busted when driving the Warthog, in that when he splatters that, whoever's playing it, he or she splatters that grunt and it explodes because it was a suicide grunt. The wheel is on its rim, it explodes, the tire pops. So that's really cool. So like seeing that kind of damage to a vehicle when the brutes come down, a la dude, I got so many Cabal vibes from that one scene. Right? And he's like floating in the air with his jetpack, and you grapple to him and you go up to him. Like, I'm like, dude, and people think that's a bad thing. I love Destiny and Halo are forever synonymous with each other for me, because the gunplay feels very similar. Gameplay is not similar, but gunplay feels similar. And dude, when he's shooting that brute that comes down, he shoots him in the leg. The brute like trips when you shoot him in the leg, and there's like just that it's kind of attention to details is so damn cool. And you see these armor pieces flying off and stuff, and I don't know, man. It just I was really hyped seeing the gameplay. The graphics, they'll get better. And I much rather the graphics be the way they were, Kev, than the other way around that most companies do it, where even Bungie was that way with Halo 2, where it just looked amazing, and then the final product looks nothing like that and gets that huge downgrade. I honestly believe we'll get an upgrade. Hopefully I'm right about that, because if I'm wrong, then yeah, consider me disappointed. But you'd be foolish to believe that the game's going to look that unfinished and have that many pop-ins and stuff in no, and it wasn't even running on a Series X, supposedly. Like, they've come out and said it's on a PC. Yeah,
it was supposed to emulate the experience.
But it also is not like the hardware. There's something acceleration built into the Series X that's supposed to help with pop-ins and things like that. And there's a bunch of PC features turned off, like ambient occlusion, and the lighting there was no RTX. That's coming post-launch. 343 said in a free update. So all those features, it's going to get better, and it will look a hell of a lot better. And we saw that. We saw proof of that with the 1-minute gameplay trailer we got, that where we saw the energy sword and the battle rifle. The textures look like significantly better because of the lighting in that 1-minute trailer than in all the demo. And I want to make this point. I know I'm kind of going on here, but we'll get to Kevin. But I want to make this point about the build, where people are like, well, why would they show an old build like this if you're trying to hype up your game? First of all, because maybe they don't have other builds ready that are running at a solid 60 frames. I know that is really important for this game right now. 60 frames per second, locked. They're probably adding polish and stuff. That's where the last 3-4 months of development are for polish and things like this anyways. But they probably want to get 60 frames locked on there. If you watch the trailer in 4K compared to when it was streamed, it looks a hell of a lot better on top of that as well.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah. And then, it's like I said, it's probably not the one they had ready. This might have been the build that they were supposed to show at E3, which was supposed to be a couple months ago. So Aaron Greenberg came out and said, I check in weekly with 343, and I can tell you there's been progress made, and there's progress on a weekly basis made on this game, and it will look better. It is a work in progress thing. And then on top of that, the Slip Space engine, people, this is what you get when you want split screen and 60 frames per second. Split screen is a huge factor into graphical fidelity. 60 frames per second for a console is huge factor for graphical fidelity. So if you want that smooth gameplay and you want split screen, you might have to take a hit on graphics. But I fully don't expect the game to look bad. I really don't. Like the Skybox 2 looked kind of empty, and 343 has done some great skyboxes. So I really expect that to make a jump too. So, across the board, I think it will look better. I do like the art style though. I like how the enemies look and stuff. The simplicity of the Elite's armor and stuff, where the colors really pop.
Look so good.
Yeah, I really do like it. So
the classic grunts coming back too.
Yep.
It
Yep.
looks so like I'll 100% down with all the visuals of the game.
Yep.
Maybe not so much with the pillars that are so
Yeah,
prominent in
like
this
the
area.
hexagonal
Yeah,
things.
there's a
Yeah.
lot of pillars. I
Yeah.
brought this up in my first impressions video where I was talking about how maybe that's a way to reduce resources, so then
Hmm.
they can have these big expansive environments without like bogging down your system. Because like that part where you're going up the elevator, like that's exactly a spot you would have like massive frame drops because you have to show such a
Everything.
huge
Yeah.
area being lighted. Lighting is in real time because it seems like there's gonna be a day-night cycle with this game,
Yep.
meaning that like you can't have baked-in lighting, which lighting is a huge intensive resource when it comes to hardware. I
Hmm.
mean, if anyone plays PC gaming, that turn down the ambient occlusion, you get a lot more you get a lot more frames.
Yeah.
It might not look
Exactly.
as good though.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's like one thing I kind of have a critique on, that there's an overusage of those pillars. Because like when we saw for like the announcement trailer and from I think even from Discover Hub a little bit. No, not from Discover, just the announcement trailer.
Yeah. The
Like had
announcement.
like a much more natural looking environment with like sprawling hillsides and animals and different kinds of things like that, which looked really great.
Hmm.
Which I'm all for the heck having the pillars in there. I think it's a cool like adds a cool sci-fi element to the whole thing. But I
Hmm.
think it might have been a little overly done.
Right.
Like you can tell when you're going up the elevator, it's like, God damn, like how many hexagons do I need to see?
Yeah.
you know. So that's like my only critique. And I would also say that like I saw this in his experience video too, talking about the weapon designs for the UNSC weapons. For the new ones, at least, they look kind of standard, like
Yeah.
human weapon kind of stuff. They like even with like the MA40 that's based off the MA37 from Reach, that
Hmm.
assault rifle, like that looks like a Halo sci-fi assault rifle, where
Right.
like the it's VK-78 Commando, I think is the name of that one,
Yep.
the slow firing assault rifle. That looks kind of like people are like, it looks like a Scar H,
Yeah, kind of. I would say
I like
the pistol looks more, the pistol and the shotgun definitely look more like normal weapons.
Yeah.
But that VK-78 literally gave me, you remember Destiny 1 pretty well, I'm sure. The very
Oh yeah,
first weapon you get in Destiny 1 that
the
you pick up, the
Kvastov.
the Kvastov, exactly.
Yeah.
The recoil pattern, everything just it was just a spitting image of that for me. Which I don't mind. I mean, they're human weapons. Yeah, I know people like to see their sci-fi, but there is so many weapons that are probably going to be in this game.
Yeah,
And
we
you know,
we only got like a little bit,
right, a
bit of
little
weapons.
teeny taste.
I would be very surprised though if the Magnum does not return in
Right.
Halo Infinite.
Yeah, that pistol isn't the Magnum. It's a sidearm or something. It's called the sidekick or something like that. It's a sidearm. So
yeah, it's like the MK50 sidekick.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
it is. I guess yeah. And so it's not even the same series of Magnums. Like even like the Halo 2 Magnum is still that same series of Magnums.
Right.
Within the lore name, it's like an M6D or something like that.
Right.
Pistol or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's not even like close to even being like named the same. So and plus it's like I did on my weapon review video, I showed that it was like a 10mm round that it shoots. So it's gonna be like a kind of good weapon in a pinch, light damage, kind of like if you run out of bullets and you need to tap a guy for like one more damage or something like that, So which Halo hasn't really had before besides the Halo 2 Magnum, but the Halo 2 Magnum is kind of
trash.
Weird. Trash, yeah. Trash.
Which, like that's not going to stop us from enjoying that game though. Like,
oh no.
Like it is a criticism and I get that. Like there's M1911 looking like the cutouts in the gun that that look, but it's not going to stop me from enjoying the game. Like I get people's criticism of that, but there's going to be plenty of cool weapons. The brute weapon looks absolutely cool. Got the bayonet at the end of it, just like most brute weapens.
That Ravager is so cool.
Yeah, the Ravager is really cool.
Shoot that gun.
the new Mauler looks pretty cool. I forgot what it was called. It was called Mangler. Yeah. The burst carbine, so maybe we'll actually get different variants again. Maybe we'll still get a single fire variant of the carbine. So
I would be very surprised if we don't.
Yeah, exactly.
Because like that's been in Halo since Halo 2.
We saw needlers, that too. So
and then I think we saw like the classic plasma pistol come back as well. Like the original Halo series. Like I think the more modeled off of Halo 3 than the more recent one, which was good.
The sword is like that
more.
original model too, like the Halo 2 model with the more rounded, which will make late night gaming super happy because he hates the angular looking sword. I actually prefer the angular looking sword.
I actually like the new swords.
Yeah,
like,
I do
look
too.
really sharp. They look sharp. Like
Yeah.
I look like if I if I touched it, I would like cut myself like
exactly
just just lightly grazing it. You know.
Yeah, exactly. I prefer the new one of the few designs that I actually prefer on the newer games, but. Hey, okay. It's not like I said. I don't really care about designs of guns. I care how they feel. I care how the game plays. And I can't wait to play it. It looks like a fun ass Halo game, and it's a sandbox game, which is what Halo is at its core. So
I think it seems like they're really laying heavy emphasis on the sandbox of Halo.
Yep.
Which is kind of like what Bungie tried doing with the first Halo game, really.
Yep.
And they did a pretty good job of it. And then I think just limitations of hardware back in 2001 when that game released, much less probably 1999 when they were developing that game, that you couldn't exactly do what you can now, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
And so this could be like the true full original vision of Halo was going to be like open world, go out, blow up all the things basically, which is going to be awesome. I'm all in with the open world Halo. I'm really looking forward to it. The one thing I did read up about that though, saying going from like crafted like 6-8 hour campaign to an open world format is where you would see those lighting changes be really significant because all the lighting needs to be generated.
Right.
Where previously with like these crafted campaigns like we did like from Halo 2 to 5, you know, you're going from A to B for each mission. And a big trick that a lot of developers do is what's called baked in lighting, which basically they texture items within the world to look like it has a shadow or some kind of lighting on it, because there's no day-night cycle within missions. So you can just like, oh, if it's gonna look, if you want a shadow to be there, we'll just texture it darker to make it look like there's a shadow, and you don't have to worry about that too much, which reduces a lot of intensity on the graphical usage of your hardware, meaning you can have a better looking game. That's why you might see a lot of these like shadows and lighting not look so great in Infinite right now, because it is an early build. Rumors saying it's been back in January when they finalized a build that they wanted to fixate on, and then also having that lighting be generated also in a brand new engine as well. So there's a lot of different variables going on with this whole thing. So that's probably why. But yeah, I do agree though that the lighting does need to improve, especially in the dark lighting. The bright lighting seems to work out really well with this engine, but the dark lighting, like we saw with the Mangler comparison side-by-side images, I'm sure a lot of us have seen. And also just like that elite that was killed when you first get off that Warhog looked really flat as well. I saw someone do a Photoshop job and they're like, oh, wow, that looks a lot better, you know?
Yeah.
Of course, you know, making things look good in Photoshop is way different than making it look good in a game.
Exactly, yeah.
But so far, but like overall, I'd say the community's reaction when you first saw the trailer was very positive. There wasn't anything that were like, "Oh no, we don't want that. Get that out of Halo," you know.
Besides
which
Sprint,
is very good to see. Yeah,
for some
Sprint,
people,
I have a feeling majority of people are good with Sprint in Halo. And I think it's just but a significant minority, like maybe like a 35% minority, which is still very significant.
That guy, man. I just think of that video, man.
Oh, yeah,
don't you fucking run, you bastard!
You son of a bitch!
No! Oh man.
Like I said, like I'm cool with Sprint in Halo. If it's Halo 5 style Sprint for the multiplayer, at least. Halo 4 Sprint, no. Halo Reach Sprint, no.
No.
Halo 5 Sprint, I think they did it just right.
Yep. Keep that.
And then some people, and there's clamber coming back. There's sliding coming back as well.
Yep.
Which, I mean, I only ever used sliding really when I was trying to do like boost slides in Halo 5. I never really slid that much, really, because it just like slows your momentum and makes you an easier, predictable movement right there, which is exactly what we don't want in multiplayer. People say about clamber about it, replacing the crouch jump. I don't think it does. I mean, it might make it different, but it's not that it removes the skill. Like Halo 5's movement is absolutely insane.
Right.
Like there's so much you could pull off. And yes, you maybe crouch jumping might not be as prominent, but there are still there are some moments you'd rather crouch jump to some things than rather clamber them because your gun is up. As long as you kind of allow that both to be within a map at the same time. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
Bring in Clamber. Why not? I don't think it's that big of a deal.
Yeah, there's plenty of skill jumps left. I mean, it does make certain jumps easier to have mantle, but or clamber, but there is still a skill gap for certain jumps, especially with advanced mobility. We don't know if thrusters in Halo Infinite. We know this grapple and that the equipment, the shield that was in there is actually going to be a multiplayer, but in a different capacity, they said. So we'll just have to wait and see how that works and how people, play around with the sandbox. But
Shiley is still making movement videos on Halo 5 and still finding out.
Oh yeah, he is. Yeah, yeah.
Like,
to this day, 5 years later.
Yeah, like I still feel like with Halo 5, it's like we got like the meat and potatoes of what the movement can do, but we didn't get all the meta spots
right
when it comes to the movement in Halo 5. I still think there was a lot of potential, at least with the last year of competitive Halo 5 there, but sadly enough, we only had one season of that. But
what was your favorite part of the trailer, if you had to pick one moment?
Favorite part about the trailer, dude? Oh my gosh. Well, I'd still say my favorite weapon is definitely the Ravager. Super excited about that. I love Eshram already. Yes. I think he seems like an awesome villain. He doesn't seem, for some reason I wasn't getting like the whole like I hate humans because and they're aliens and I want to rule the world kind of thing. Right. But like he had like a different kind of edge to him. Yep. It was. I like the bring me your best Spartan. Yeah.
Set a fire in your heart. I love that. I love that whole monologue. And he said, awesome. And die well. Like, yo, if Chief dies,
yeah, after watching, I'm like, come at me, bro. Let's do this.
That's exactly what I said in my reaction. I'm like, dude, I want to fight this man right now. Let me at him so I can punch him in the mouth right now.
So much more than we ever had in Halo 4 or 5 when it comes to their villains. Like this one, I am all for this one. This is going to look amazing. It's going to, I'm excited.
Yes,
I'm very excited
really
about
excited.
This.
Yep.
And but so I guess maybe just favorite part of the trailer as a whole, I'd say it would probably have to be that moment when you just get off the Pelican and you go into first person with your assault rifle and you just step out into the ring for the first time. It gives you that exact same feeling you had back in Combat Evolved, getting off that drop pod.
But with wildlife and stuff too in there. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it was. Your first moment you're saying, you're like, oh, it's one of those first jaw dropping moments you have. You're like, oh wow, this is what you're doing,
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's and then first when you bring up that menu of the open world menu, I'm like, it blew me. I'm like, it's open world.
It's open world.
It's open world.
Yeah.
Oh man, what was your favorite part about the whole thing?
Probably the Eshram, the monologue there with him, like just especially with the. If I had to pick one thing, though, it's the music. The music literally gave me goosebumps. I am in love with the soundtrack already, but especially during that speech that the Brute is giving, you hear the monk theme being played in the background, but with different instruments, and
it crescendos so well. It builds up
so
the
good.
Whole speech, and he's getting more involved with the speech too, and it just builds up perfectly. It's so well done.
So well done, dude. Like, and that's exactly how music should be, effective music, and it makes you. It freaking sets that fire in your heart to freaking just want to whoop his ass. So I absolutely love that. Like those two parts that I mentioned, the 535 moment in the trailer where you pick up the Mangler. And you and the visor mode too. Visor mode's back. That that's really cool too.
System, I think.
Yeah.
If they're keeping that name,
right?
It's exactly that. Which the Artemis tracker system would actually work really well in Halo Infinite,
especially with the day-night cycle.
It was useless in Halo 5, but in Halo Infinite, it would actually work out super well.
Yeah. So the music, man, the music is so magnifique.
Perfect, magnifico.
Perfect. Yes, which they actually announced, for people who didn't know, a second composer. So I'm getting like real Marty O'Donnell, Michael Salvatore vibes. Like, we got two composers working on it, which really hasn't been the case for 4 or 5, right? Neither one of them had two composers, right?
Yeah, I think each one had one.
Right. Janucci was 5, and Neil Davidge was Halo 4, or Neil Davidge, or whatever however you pronounce it. But yeah, gosh, whatever.
Supposed to be a news person. You can't pronounce names correctly.
You don't even remember them, okay? But yes, overall, we're very. I would say we're optimistic for the. There's nothing that I'm pissed about where I'm like I'm not gonna play. I'm excited to play this game. I am absolutely all aboard. Let's go.
I will say though that the criticisms are deserved though.
Yes, yeah. The graphical criticisms are deserved. Yes.
Yes. Because like this is you showing off the game for the first time. This is supposed to be the flagship game for the console, and there are some issues with it. People rightfully have the right to be like, what the hell's going on with this?
Right.
I don't know if anyone saw that awesome short video that someone made with like the part where the Arbiter meets Tartarus in Halo 2, and it's supposed to be like Halo fans arguing with each other, and then like Spark is supposed to be like 343. It's like, well, turns out it's actually a really early build that we're so if you check out our earlier trailers, we see that it's actually the graphics have greatly improved. We're trying to make the best game we can, and we're really passionate about this project.
Yeah, I saw that.
God. It was so funny. Might have to link that in the show notes or something.
Yeah,
it's worth watching. It's so
that
good.
and the sprint reaction from that dude. We need to link that too because it's freaking hilarious.
Walk,
dude. Hidden Xperia like fell out of his chair and like threw something when there was sprint. I was like, come on, Luke.
Yeah, he just hit the ball like boom, boom,
yeah.